So good morning everyone, my name is Nino Pancadito, LPPito from BSN1 A18. Today we're going to assess the neurologic, musculoskeletal, and the peripheral vascular system of this patient. So first we're going to step 1 to identify the patient. So may I ask, what is your name, sir?
My name is Zamutimir.
Montemayor. Then your age is
17.
17. Your birthday,
October 12,
October 12,
2004.
2004. Next, we're going to explain the purpose of this procedure. Now, the purpose of this procedure is to detect any diseases or any abnormalities of your neurologic, musculoskeletal, and the peripheral vascular system. So we're going to check your cranial nerves and the other parts of your musculoskeletal system. So next, we're going to instruct the patient to urinate or void. Now, because I already asked the patient to void before taking this video, so we're going to skip that. Next, we're going to perform hand hygiene. So you can perform proper hand hygiene with soap and water, but in this case we're going to use an alcohol. Okay. Next, we are going to help the patient undress and change to his gown. But since we don't have a gown to use today, let's just imagine that this is already the patient's gown. So next, we're going to begin the survey, and we're going to assess the patient's posture. We're going to assess the overall hygiene of the patient. If he has taken his bath today, or let's look at his posture, if it is correct. Or if it is not straight, his posture is straight. If it's not, then there might be scoliosis or other deformities. Okay. So next, we're going to assess the neurovascular system of the patient. So we're going to assess the patient's mental status. First, we're going to evaluate the patient's orientation to person, place, and time. So, sir, may I ask how you are today, and where are you? What are you currently positioned today?
Nandito po ako nakaupo sa misa.
So you are aware of your surroundings. You are currently outside, and may I ask what time of the day it is?
It's morning.
It's morning. Okay. Next, we're going to evaluate the level of consciousness of the patient. So we're going to see if the patient is asleep, or half awake, or fully awake. So currently, the patient, as we can see, the patient is fully awake. So it is fully awake. We're going to note that. Next, we're going to assess the patient's memory. So, sir, can you recall, makatimaan ba ka sa imong atong nga buhat karon?
Oo. Nakutana ka na ako sa bukas sa lingkod.
Okay, so that is correct. Next, we're going to assess the abstract reasoning of the patient. So we're going to ask the patient to explain the early bird catches the worm. Phrases like that, the early bird catches the worm. So, sir, can you explain unsay pasabot anang sayo kay nalanggam makakaon o wati?
Kuan, kung magsayo ka, daghan kang makuha.
So that is correct. So if you are early, then you can get the best food. You can pick the best food. But if you are late, then you are only getting what is available. So next, we're going to evaluate the patient's ability to understand spoken and written words. So, sir, can you understand what I am speaking now? Yes. So next, we're going to ask the patient to read. So, sir, can you read this?
Assessing the neurologic, musculoskeletal, and peripheral vascular system.
So, the patient has trouble with pronouncing word, but either way, he can read. So that is correct. So next we're going to test the cranial nerve functions. So first we're going to ask the patient to close both eyes, then oculate the nose, then we're going to check the patient if the patient can smell right, the cranial percent. So I'm going to use this. What do you smell? Alcohol. Okay, so next nose. Isa ka ilong. Close that. Now what do you smell?
Mango.
Mango. Okay, you can open your eyes. Gambata na ka. Next, we're going to check the visual acuity of the patient and also the pupillary constriction. So we're going to use the pen light and check, look, and check if the patient, the pupils constrict and dilate. Again, constrict, dilate. Okay. Other eye, constrict, dilate. Constrict. Okay. So next we're going to move the patient eyes in the cardinal position or the gaze test. So we're going to let the patient look at the pen light and you are going to follow this pen light. So let's start na. We're going to check if there is twitching of the eyes. So far there is none. Next, we're going to ask the patient to smile. Easy. Easy. Easy to do. Dayon, frown. Buol. Okay. Next, wrinkle the forehead. Kumuta, anak. Ayan, anak. Okay. And last, we're going to check the patient, ask the patient to puff his cheeks. Yan, anak. Anak, kabulutan yun. Okay, so that's the cranial nerves. Next, we're going to test the gag reflex of the patient. So we're going to use a tongue depressor. Then, this is a new tongue depressor, by the way. So open mouth, close ang dila. And we're going to check the gag reflex. Okay. So the gag reflex is tap. Next, we're going to place our hands. Check the cranial surface. We're going to place your hands here and try if the patient can shrug his shoulders while resisting to force. So, anak ka sir ha. Try that. Wala na to force. So you can do that. So the next is we're going to inspect the ability of the patient to move his neck. So we're going to ask the patient to reach his chin over his shoulders. So anak mo sir na anak. Anak. So reach the other side. Okay, so now next we're going to inspect the upper extremities. So we're going to assess the skin of the patient, look for any lesions, any abnormalities like rashes, also palpate it, the rotation of the skin, something like that. Okay, seems to be normal. Next, we're going to ask the patient to extend the arms, and rapidly twist the hands, palms, I mean. So, like this, right? Okay. Put it down. Okay, so that seems normal. Next, we're going to ask the patient to flex upper arm and resist the examiner's opposing force. So, anak, sir, do that. And you lift siya, lift. Anak. Yan na siya. Napog na nako. Okay. That's normal. If the patient cannot perform that exam, then there might be something wrong. Okay, so next is we're going to inspect and palpate the hands and fingers, wrist and elbow joints. We're going to palpate the hands, look for any abnormalities, lesions, any bulging veins, or any, nothing. Now, next we're going to check the pulses, the what you call it, radial and branchial pulses. So, okay, there's one. Okay, other side. Okay. So your pulses, sir, are normal, 2 plus. Not bulging, not 3 plus, not slow. So it is normal. Next we're going to have the patient squeeze 2 of my fingers. So sir, squeeze siya, kumuta. Okay. Okay, so the patient has strength in his hands. Next, we're going to ask the patient to close his eyes, yung mata, ana imong palm, sa kamay. Then, I will put an object and you're going to describe it, what the object is in your hand. So, first is, muta. Sama na?
Ballpen.
Ballpen. Okay. Next, kani.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Other hand. So na. Sa may pili or rubber siya, sa na?
Rubber.
Rubber. So this is latex and gloves. So his hands can feel the objects that I have put in his hands. So it's normal. Next we're going to ask the patient to close his eyes. Close his eyes and anay mo palm. Then we're going to draw on his hands and we're going to he is going to feel on what did I draw. So we're going to draw a number. So number 1. Okay. Another. Again. Dito na. 3. Again. Dito na ko. 2. There might be some problem. Another hand daw. Try that. So, isa na.
1.
Okay. Oh. Okay. So, balik. Try the other hand.
3.
So, there might be some problems when writing 7, but 1, 2, and 3 is readable. You can read 1, 2, and 3. So next, we are going to put the patient into a supine position like so. So we're going to inspect his lower extremities. So we're going to check for any lesions, edemas, or any abnormalities. So far there are some scarring but no abnormalities found it, no lesions. There are some scarrings but that is very normal. So next, we are going to palpate for the pulses and the skin temperature. So use this side of the hand when palpating the temperature. The skin is warm but not too hot. or too cold. The side is okay. Next, we're going to palpate for the pulses. So, starting pulse here under the knee. Okay, can find it. Next, behind the leg. You found it. And also, pulse here. Okay, found. The pulses in these legs are 2+, which is normal. Next, we're going to have the patient perform the straight leg test with one leg at a time. So, we're going to ask the patient to lift his leg upwards. So, sending mo one at a time to indicate that all of his muscles are working. Leg muscles, I mean. So, the other side. Okay, down. Okay. So, his muscles are fine, are working. So, next we're going to ask the patient to move one leg laterally with knee straight to test abduction and medially to test adduction of the hips. Next, we are going to ask the patient to raise the thigh against the resistance of my hands. So, we're going to, sir, lift, lift. Okay, down. This side. Okay, down. Now, next, we're going to see if the patient can push his legs against resistance. So, dito siya, ngayon. Push. Okay. And repeat by pulling. Pull, biraha. Okay. The patient is very capable of pulling and pushing his legs. So, also repeat it on the other side. Next, we're going to assess the patient's deep tendon reflex. But since we don't have a reflex hammer, a spare reflex hammer, we're just going to skip that part. But if reflex hammer is available, then you should perform this part. So, as needed, assist the patient into a standing position. Observe the patient as he walks with a regular gait on the toes, on the heels, and the heel to the toe. So, walk lang ka, lakaw lang ka. So, check mo. You should check if there are abnormal movements when he is walking. So, currently, there is none. So, next, we're going to perform the Romberg's test. So, we should ask the patient to stand straight, feet together, feet together, and both eyes are closed with arms at the side, So, we should wait 20 seconds to see the swaying motion. And always be aware, the nurse should be aware to check the patient, to prepare for the patient if the patient will fall. You should look out, you should watch for the swaying movements. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I think we should perform the after procedure. So of course we are all done with the assessment. So you should do the after procedure. So you should take a chair and let the patient sit in the chair. Of course, perform hygiene after the procedure. So, and document the findings. So I think that is all. I have already done all the assessments, and I have already performed hand hygiene, and I have also documented the findings of the assessment. So that is all. Thank you for watching.